All right, so today I thought I would talk a little bit about the plot, genre, and structure of my novel. It is set in contemporary San Francisco and is the story of a young man's pursuit of the American dream in three primary facets. The first is professional. He works at a big tech company, but his job is not very dignified. And so he conceives at the beginning of the story of an idea for a new business, which he proceeds to execute on, and so emancipate himself from his somewhat degrading employment situation. The second is social. He is seeking admission into an elite social club, a yacht club on San Francisco Bay, and against him is vying another person who becomes his rival and his nemesis. The third is romantic. He is chasing a girl way out of his league. And so the story being farcical and funny in places, it could very well be described as a comic novel, but I think a more apt term for genre is romanticism, in the sense that at its essence, it is a story of a young man's yearning for more, his striving after something very difficult of attainment. I think romanticism also applies both to the style of the prose and to the structure of the novel. I find that I write in a high pitch of emotion, high strain of intensity, and focus more on the inner world and the experience of the individual characters. These are values typically associated with romanticism. They can be distinguished from those of classicism, which tends to favor simplicity, clarity, proportion, order, symmetry. And this is reflected also in prose style. I think the classical style in English is that of the 18th century, very simple, very clear. The romantic style is that of the 17th century, which is much more ornate, much more flowery, much more rhythmical, and in my opinion, much more pretty. And so I take that style of prose for my model. My sentences are very long, but the clauses themselves are fairly digestible, I think. I think romanticism applies also to the structure of the novel. The sort of typical novel structure is very classical, in my opinion. It is many chapters, all of roughly equal length, and resembles a classical temple, a Doric temple, which has, a row of columns all of equal height. My novel has a unique structure in that it's three parts, all of compounding length. So part 1 is 1 chapter, 25 pages. Part 2 is 3 chapters, 75 pages. And part 3 is 7 chapters and 150 pages. There is a time lapse between each of the parts, but within a part, it's a continuous time sequence. So by the time you get to part 3, you have 150 pages and 7 chapters, all in a continuous 36-hour period. And in the same way as is achieved in a 3-act play, which is of compounding length, I think that this enables the novel to build an intensity towards an emotional climax.